John Daly didn't arrive early. He didn't practice. In fact, he wasn't even supposed to play. Days before the 1991 PGA Championship, he was sitting at home as the ninth alternate, unknown to most people. No one expected anything from him. But in less than 4 days, that unknown name would shock the sports world and become part of history.
6 yards from the left hand, he's going to make it.
In golf, majors are not won by accident. They are won by players who prepare obsessively, who study courses for weeks, who arrive early and leave late. The system is designed to reward discipline and punish recklessness. That's why what happened in August of 1991 still feels impossible. John Daly didn't follow the system. He crashed into it at full speed and changed the game forever. At the time, Daly was a 25-year-old PGA Tour rookie from Arkansas, known more for his raw power than his results. He could hit the ball farther than almost anyone on tour, but control was always the question. Earlier that season, he had missed multiple cuts and failed to make any real impression. Veterans saw him as talented but unreliable, a player who swung too hard and thought too little. When the field for the PGA Championship was announced, Daly's name wasn't there. Instead, it sat near the bottom of the alternate list, a place where careers usually stall and dreams quietly fade. Then, out of nowhere, everything changed. Nick Price, one of the top players in the world, withdrew from the championship because his wife was about to give birth. That single withdrawal triggered a chain reaction, moving alternates up the list one by one. Eventually, John Daly got the call. He was in. The problem was timing. The tournament was about to begin, and Crooked Stick Golf Club in Indiana was nearly 700 miles away. Daly didn't have time to plan or prepare. He didn't book a flight. He got into his car and drove through the night, fueled by adrenaline and disbelief, arriving exhausted with no practice rounds and no familiarity with the course. Crooked Stick was not forgiving. Designed by Pete Dye, it was long, narrow, and brutal. At over 7,200 yards, it was one of the hardest courses in America, built to expose weakness and punish mistakes. The field was stacked with elite veterans and European stars who had spent days studying every hole. Daly arrived having never seen it once. Even his caddy situation was improvised. He picked up Jeff "Squeaky" Medlin, the caddy who had been working for Nick Price. They had never worked together before and would learn the course together, one shot at a time. When Daly stepped onto the first tee on Thursday, he didn't look like a future major champion. He wore loose clothes, sported a mullet, and casually drank a Diet Coke. He didn't carry the quiet confidence of a seasoned winner. But the moment he swung, everything changed. The sound of impact was different. The ball launched high and fast, flying past landing areas other players couldn't reach. Spectators stopped talking. Daly wasn't just longer than the field, he was in a different category altogether. Despite never practicing on the course, Daly shot a 3-under par 69. On a course that was dismantling some of the best players in the world, it was a stunning start. But what happened the next day turned shock into belief. On Friday, Daly came back with the same fearless approach. He attacked the course, trusting his power and instincts. While others struggled with long irons into greens, Daly hit short irons and wedges. He shot a 5-under par 67 and suddenly found himself leading the PGA Championship. Now the story spread fast. A rookie, a ninth alternate, no practice rounds, leading a major championship. Media attention exploded. Fans were drawn to him because he didn't feel manufactured. He didn't look or act like the traditional golf star. He felt real, unpredictable, and bold. His philosophy was simple: grip it and rip it. No fear, no hesitation. And at Crooked Stick, that philosophy worked perfectly. Saturday brought pressure. The crowds grew larger, the cameras followed his every move, and expectations rose with every hole. But Daly didn't flinch. He stayed patient, stayed aggressive when needed, and avoided the big mistakes. His round of 69 wasn't flashy, but it was strong enough to keep him in the lead heading into Sunday. Veterans tried to chase him down, but the course offered no mercy, and Daly's power continued to separate him from the rest of the field. Sunday was the real test. Final rounds of majors don't care about talent. They care about nerves. Crooked Stick tightened its grip, fairways narrowed, and greens became less forgiving. For a 25-year-old rookie with no experience closing a major, this was where the story was supposed to end. But Daly never changed who he was. He trusted his swing, accepted pressure, and refused to play scared. His final round of 71 wasn't perfect, but it was composed. When the last putt dropped, John Daly stood at 12 under par, 3 shots clear of the field. In 1 week, John Daly went from unknown to immortal. It was his first PGA Tour win and his first major championship, achieved in a way no one had ever seen before. Fans embraced him instantly, not just because he won, but because of how he won. Daly looked different, talked different, and played different. In a sport often associated with tradition, etiquette, and perfection, he represented something raw and authentic. He became proof that golf didn't belong only to perfection and privilege, but also to belief, courage, and fearlessness. Watching him overpower crooked stick, fans saw a version of the game that felt more human and more accessible, driven by instinct rather than calculation. What Daly showed that week was revolutionary. His power wasn't just impressive, it was decisive. On a course designed to punish aggression, he turned distance into an advantage that others simply couldn't match. He hit shots that changed how holes were meant to be played, forcing observers to reconsider long-held assumptions about course design and strategy. Years before distance became the dominant conversation in professional golf, before technology and analytics reshaped the sport, John Daly revealed what the future could look like. He proved that length, when combined with confidence and trust, could redefine what was possible at the highest level. His career would later be filled with highs and lows, moments of brilliance and periods of chaos, victories followed by struggles that played out publicly. But nothing, not the setbacks, not the controversies, not the unpredictability, would ever erase what happened at Crooked Stick in 1991. That week stood apart, untouched by everything that came later. A man who wasn't supposed to be there drove through the night, arrived with no preparation, borrowed a caddie, and learned one of the hardest courses in America in real time. Then he stood his ground against the best players in the world and refused to blink. It wasn't just a win. It wasn't just a major championship. It was a moment that changed the identity of a golfer and quietly shifted the direction of the sport itself. That week marked the exact moment John Daly became a legend, and the moment golf realized it would never be the same again.